A 19-year-old wildcard ranked world number 140, Alexandra Eala, walked into the 2025 Miami Open with nothing to lose. It is March 25, 2025 in Miami, and the ball leaving Jelena Ostapenko's racket does not arc. It travels flat, low, and mean, and it lands a foot inside your baseline before you have finished your split step. This is the 2017 French Open champion. First strike, all power. A player who ends points in 3 shots and dares you to survive the barrage. On paper, you're the warm-up act. You are 19, a wild card, ranked 140th in the world, and every scouting report says you lose this inside an hour. So the barrage comes. And you do not flinch. You take the ball early, you feed the pace back into the corners, and slowly the hardest hitter in the draw becomes the one scrambling. You take the first set 6-4. Now the second set is underway, and something strange is showing on the stat line. Ostapenko is swinging harder, going for more, and getting absolutely nowhere. She does not earn a single breakpoint. Not one. Across an entire set against a Grand Slam champion, you never once let her see daylight on your serve. 6-4, 6-2. You walk off having dismantled Jelena Ostapenko without ever being in real danger. No woman from the Philippines had ever beaten a Grand Slam champion at a tour-level event. You just did it, and you barely broke a sweat. The draw did not care. 2 days later, it handed you the world number 5, Madison Keys, fresh off winning the Australian Open. Ostapenko, it turns out, was the easy one. Second set. Madison Keys loads up the forehand that won her the Australian Open and fires it into the corner. It comes back, then it comes back harder, and now she is the one scrambling. You have seen this scoreline once already this week. 2 days after Ostapenko, the draw hands you the world number 5, Madison Keys, the reigning Australian Open champion, still the freshest name on any trophy in the sport. Ostapenko. You could survive by waiting for the misses. Keys does not miss out of frustration. She hits through you on purpose, and she hands you nothing. It is March 23. A show court in Miami, thick evening air. You are 19, ranked number 140, holding a wild card. And across the net, a Grand Slam champion is bouncing the ball to serve. Her whole plan is to overwhelm you before you can think. There is no out-muscling that. So you refuse to play her game. You stand in and take the ball early, and you send her own pace back before it can build. Every time she swings bigger, the court shrinks for her, not for you. The champion starts missing. 6-4 again. Then 6-2. The reigning Australian Open champion could not find a way to hold serve, and the wild card across the net never once blinked. No woman from the Philippines had ever beaten a top 10 player. You just did it to the world number 5, and it was not close. 2 Grand Slam champions, 3 days, straight sets both. Then the draw did something stranger than any upset. In the round of 16, your opponent, Paula Badosa, withdrew injured. No match. A walkover you never asked for. And it meant the next name waiting for you, rested and untouched, was the biggest one in the sport, the world number 2 and a 5-time Grand Slam champion. It is March 26, 2025 in Miami. You have already taken the first set off the world number 2, and now she leads the second, 4-2. The whole stadium exhales because this is the part where the teenager folds. 5 major titles on the other side of the net, rested by a walkover. 3 games from dragging you into a decider. The comeback ends here. It almost always does. Then it turns. You take 5 of the last 6 games. The champion who never loses her nerve from in front starts missing lines she owns, and 4-2 for her becomes 7-5 for you. Straight sets. Over the world number 2. You have nothing to defend and everything to take. She has a ranking, a reputation, and a 19-year-old wildcard who refuses to miss. On that court, the weight only moves one way: 6-2, 7-5. And with it, 3 Grand Slam champions beaten inside a single week, not one of them taken to a third set. Rewind to Wimbledon 2023. A wildcard named Elena Svitolien does exactly this. 3 slam champions in straight sets at one event, and the sport calls it a run you see once in a generation. Until this week, she was the only player who had ever done it. You are the second. A world number 140 wildcard, the first Filipina ever to reach a WTA 1000 semi-final, standing on ground only one woman had stood on before. One match now stands between you and the final. You will walk into that semi-final and take the lead. Then take it again in the deciding set. And the way a 2-hour, 26-minute match slips out of your hands from in front will teach you what none of the wins could. It is a Wednesday night in Miami. A tired return floats off Iga Swiatek's racket, drifts a foot long, and the scoreboard freezes on a number no Filipino had ever made it read. This was more than another upset. It was a door swinging open onto a stage her country had never once stood on. Rewind to 1975. A computer in Florida prints the first ranking of the best women in tennis. Scroll that list forward, year by year, decade by decade, and no Filipina ever appears near the top of it. 50 years, not one. Until a 19-year-old wildcard walked off that court as the first Filipina ever to reach a WTA semi-final, and the first ever to reach a WTA 1000 semi-final. Nobody who follows the sport reached for caution. This was the most significant thing to happen in Philippine tennis since that ranking list first printed in 1975. And the run paid in more than history. It paid in 390 ranking points, the biggest single haul of her career. It paid roughly $332,160 in prize money, more than she had banked across whole seasons grinding through the lower tours. When the new list came out, the number beside her name moved the way numbers almost never do, from 140th in the world to a career high of 75th. She had entered outside the top 100. She left as the first Filipina ever inside it, and that number would keep falling. Within a year, she opens a season ranked 29th in the world, the first Filipino ever to break the top 30. But all of that was still ahead of her. Tonight she stood drenched, one win from a final, with a match still to play. To play for that final, she had to get past world number 4, Jessica Pegula. She would take the lead. Then, in the deciding set, take it again. And this time being in front would teach her something none of the wins had. It is the third set. You are up 2-0, ball in your hand, 1 clean hour from the biggest final of your life. All week you had been the hunter. Ahead is a different animal. Across the net stands the one opponent who never hands you anything. World number 4 doesn't spray errors. She won't flinch, she won't rush. She waits for you to blink. The 2-game cushion is gone before you can even trust it. Pegula takes the deciding set 6-3. 2 hours and 26 minutes. The final line, 7-6, 5-7, 6-3, a loss. Beating a champion when nobody expects you is one thing. Holding a lead with a final on the line is another entirely. The 3 wins had taught her she belonged. This one taught her what belonging costs. The scoreboard said she was out. The ranking sheet, printed that Monday, disagreed. 390 points, the single biggest haul of her career, landed beside her name. And roughly $332,000 in prize money, more than a young career had ever seen at once. The number itself fell like a stone in the only direction that matters, 140 down to 75, the first Filipina ever inside the top 100. Go back to 1975. The WTA begins keeping a rankings list, room by numbered room. For 50 years, no woman from the Philippines climbs into the upper floors. Then a wildcard loses a semi-final in Miami, and the door finally opens. By the time the calendar turned to 2026, the number had a 3 in front of it, 29 in the world. The first Filipino ever to break the top 30, which erased the one thing that had always been on her side. For a whole run, she'd walked out as the wildcard, nobody seeded, the name on nobody's scouting report. At 29 in the world, that cover was gone. Next time she stepped onto a big court, she'd be the one expected to win. And the hardest match in tennis is the one you're supposed to. Upsets happen every week in tennis. A seed has an off day. A big name wilts in the heat, and the bracket cracks open. You've seen it 100 times and forgotten it by the weekend. This wasn't that. 3 major champions. 6 days. Not one of them dragged her to a third set. Losing to a great player once is ordinary. Beating 3 of them in a row, before the shock of the first even fades, means solving a different game each time. The flat power, the timing, the heavy topspin, with no night off to think about it. It is match point against the world number 2, and the teenager returning serve has already done exactly this twice this week. Her arm should be heavy by now. Watch it. It is not. Go back through 50 years of the professional tour. A wildcard had stitched 3 major champions together in straight sets precisely once before, on the grass at Wimbledon 2 summers earlier. Now it had happened twice. Both times, nobody had it on their scouting report. The Philippines had been keeping tennis records since the rankings first existed. In half a century, nothing had come within reach of this. A ranking is more than a number beside your name. It's a seed, a scouting file, a slot on the draw that opponents circle a full week before they play you. It's the next season now. She walks onto court, and for the first time, the tape her opponents studied the night before was her own. The wildcard, who ambushed 3 champions, had become the player. Everyone walked out prepared to beat. And the moment they all rewound, the comeback from 4-2 down that broke SHFON Tech was now the first thing every coach drilled to take away. The next time she reached for it, she would learn whether a weapon still cuts once the whole tour has watched it swing. If this brought the match back to you, subscribe for the next one.